Well, as you can see behind me, we've pulled the shades in the greenhouse. We've got an unseasonably warm day today. It's supposed to get above 75. Some reports say up to 76, 77. Others just say around 75. But in any case, that is warmer than any other day this week and warmer than we normally get at the beginning of April here. So yeah, enjoying that. It's a great gardening day.
Well, you've heard me reference him before, Charles Dowding, and many of you have probably already seen his videos, but I wanted to call out this video, Tour of Charles Dowding's No-Dig Garden at Transition Time Between Winter and Spring. Charles Dowding, it was posted April 9th, 2022. Charles' climate is similar to ours here in Portland, Oregon. Perhaps it's a little bit cooler where he's at, but it gives me a good sense of where I'm at timing-wise on a comparative basis. So those of you who are in my area, I thought it'd be good for you to check this out. And the link will be down in the description below.
I don't have any grit. Well, I'm talking about the kind that you use in a seedling mix or potting soil. I mean, I may not have the other kind either, but I'll leave that to others to judge. So I've been using bags of perlite that either I get off Amazon or I go to a big box store for. And I actually went to a big box store this morning and stocked up. It's not terribly expensive, but it comes in such small quantities compared to what I need. While I have found that I've found good sources of potting mix and mulch and bark and things like that that I can buy in bulk, I've never, and local sources, I don't have to go to big box stores for that. I've never really found a place to get grit for drainage in bulk. And aside from perlite, the other kind that I hear people use is vermiculite. I haven't used that myself. Just the cost of perlite's been cheaper and it works. So while I can buy potting mix yards at a time, I wish I could buy perlite like that. And the potting mix that I buy has some perlite in it, but never enough. And I think it sinks to the bottom because I scoop all the potting mix into buckets and I use it. And then by the time I get to the bottom, it seems like there's a lot of perlite, but at the top, there's not much of any. So I supplement the potting mix that I buy in bulk with extra perlite. But I wish I didn't have to buy it in these big plastic bags and that I could get grit at bulk, at scale. I figure I probably go through 3 yards of potting soil in a season, 3 cubic yards. And so, you know, that would be probably, I would need about 1 to 1.5 yards of grit of some sort to go with that, ideally. So that's what I'm looking for that I can never really find. And so I'm always running short and I'm always kind of resorting to getting bags from big box stores or Amazon. Well, it's turned a little chilly today compared to the earlier this week where it got into the 70s this week. I've got my coat on out here, plus my flannel, plus my hat. So yeah, we definitely are colder. It's sprinkling a little bit, but not full on raining on me yet. And what I'm doing is cleaning up these beds. I say I'm harvesting, but I'm actually at the same time cleaning up the beds, which consists of edging around the edges, hoeing around the edges to get the weeds, pulling the weeds out while I'm harvesting the veggies that are in there. And I may also throw in there planting new starts when I see there's room, and I've got some onions and some other onions and other kinds of flowers that maybe could go in here sitting in the nursery areas that I could plug in here as I create space. Well, I spent some time today cleaning out the greenhouse a little bit, making more room and starting to move some plants into kind of the outdoor nursery area because I need to make more room for plants that are coming up, starts that are coming up from the basement. So this greenhouse is going to be more full in the next few weeks, and the outside tables will be full, and we'll have like a full-on plant nursery here, which, believe it or not, you know, we may give away some of that, but we actually use a lot of it in the garden. Well, Ethiopian kale was a new veggie for me when I planted this last year. It overwintered like a champ, and it made up nearly 1/3 of the harvest on my first serious day of harvesting last week. I put that in my video, in my last video. So, however, I was harvesting mostly the rab from the Ethiopian kale, and looking at its description from seed companies, the leaves are what I should be harvesting. It's kind of like arugula. I mean, I included the leaves in the stem when I harvested the rab, but I didn't just harvest the leaves like a salad green. And that's what it seems from the seed catalogs you're supposed to do. They do have a bite. The plant has a bite to it, kind of like arugula. It's a bit spicy. The seed companies say that it's, even though it's called Ethiopian kale, that it's really a mustard, which fits with what I'm getting out of it and what I'm tasting from it. So that makes sense. It's supposed to be a biennial, so I'm not sure what that means. It kind of started last year, it leafed, it flowering this year. I don't know if that means I'm done with it now. I've cut off the flower tops. Will it keep going, or should I just remove it? I guess we'll find out soon.
Well, I've been holding off on planting some of the heat-loving items that don't take as long to mature. I, of course, already did the eggplants, peppers, tomatoes because of their long maturity. I've got to let them grow here in the basement to get started. But now it's time to get started on things like basil and zinnias and those kinds of things. And so I am planting basil seeds first, and I'm planting several varieties of basil this year. One of the varieties that I've already planted is something called an aromato basil. Is something my wife picked out. It's grown for the purple flowers, and it's usually for flower arrangements. Although it's still edible like other basil, it's included in flower arrangements. I'm going to, of course, grow the standard Italian Genovese basil. I also like to grow Thai basil. I like that anise flavor, and it's commonly used in Thai or Vietnamese cooking. And finally, we're going to grow a different one, which I'm planting here right now, which is the cinnamon Asian basil, which is another one that is grown for its decorative qualities to be used in flower arrangements. Also can be edible, but a couple of these basils, like I mentioned, we're growing basically like flowers to expand our flower garden capabilities here. Basil seeds are pretty small like this. I'm going to put 2 or 3 in each cell and lightly cover, and then put it on the shelf and let it germinate. It stays a good 70 degrees in here, so that's perfect for germination.
For more discussion on basil varieties, check out Kiki Soto's channel and her video 9 Basil Varieties, Let's Sow and Grow Them, all in my urban garden. The channel is Urban Girl Gardening and Lifestyle, posted April 8th, 2022, and we'll have a link in the description down below.
Well, I was worried that it may have gotten too hot in this greenhouse the other day, and it could have killed off my lettuce seeds or stopped them from germinating. I forgot to open the doors, and so it got really hot in here, higher than 90 degrees for a short period, and I caught it. I got the doors open, but now I can see that the lettuce seeds are okay because my lettuce plants are sprouting. So my plan was to germinate them here in the unheated greenhouse because the basement nursery I thought might be too warm for them, and that seems to be working well. Now, although this is a lettuce update, the same goes for spinach. I have 2 rounds of spinach in here that I've germinated and one is well on its way to being ready to plant either late this week or for sure out next week in these beds out here. I really love it when the garden goes to plan.
Here are some of the seeds that I planted this week. I did a 3rd round of lettuce. I did Bell Star broccoli. That must be some real special broccoli because there weren't that many seeds in the packet. I did a bunch of different varieties of cosmos. I'm not listing them all here, but I had maybe 4 or 5 different varieties of different kinds of cosmos. Basil, I talked about that in an earlier segment, several varieties of that. Flax, which I grow for the flowers, and we've got both the blue and red kind. African white marigolds, the giant firecracker marigolds, and of course what I grow every year, a lot of French marigolds.